Practice Indie Yogis. This week's theme is sahaja, or spontaneous enlightenment. So for those of you that are newer to the yoga philosophy, there is an actual goal to the yoga practice, and that goal is you can language it in one of two ways, either to mitigate suffering, so to no longer suffer, or to reach our bliss state. These are actually the same thing. It's just that what's on the other side of no longer suffering is the bliss state, and what it means to be in bliss is to no longer be in suffering. So they are one and the same, but depending on the lens that you're looking at it through, either more of the Buddhist side or more of the Hindu side or the Jain side, or wherever you're coming at it, it's going to resonate differently for you, or maybe where you are in your life. So this week's theme, sahaja, spontaneous enlightenment, is what I would say is like our aha moments. It's the moments where we realize our truest self. So Mary Oliver just passed away, and in recognizing her, a lot of people have been sharing her quote, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And a lot of people tend to translate that or use that quote for like ambitious qualities. You know, I'm gonna go crush it, I'm gonna go like make $1 billion or whatever. And they say it just like that. And one of our teachers, Emily Cox, presented in her class that Mary Oliver's own answer to this question was to stroll idly through the fields. And so I think we get caught up in, goals and bliss and highest self, into thinking that it is this state of like performance and perfection and all these things. And bliss is really, as we are in every moment, we are divine. And that's just so hard, at least for me, to wrap my mind around. Not projecting on you, but for me to think like, just me as I am, like unshowered. Actually, I showered today, but most of the time unshowered, underfed because I'm chasing after my kids, a little on edge, angry, like underneath the facade of all of that, I am divine and I am enough as I am. And so samadhi is a state of bliss. It is a state in which we become in bliss and in union with all things, and we no longer are in that rat race of I am not enough and la 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 la, right? Sahaja is spontaneous enlightenment. So if samadhi is a sustainment of that state, samadhi or sahaja is kind of the like blips on the radar. So going back to this idea of the aha moment, it's not an aha moment where you're like, oh, I know how to make $1 billion. It's the moment where you're about to get up and like attack the day because you've got so many things to do to prove to other people, and instead you sit in your bed for a couple extra minutes just to be. I think for me that is sahaja, that spontaneous enlightenment of like, oh, you know what, as I am right now, I'm enough. And I think that's a little simplistic, but for me that's getting closer to it. Or the moment where I don't have to ask somebody to validate me, where I've done something and I'm perfectly great with whatever it was, that I myself recognize like, yeah, like as it is, that's enough and I'm enough. So I think these little blips on the radar getting us closer to that state of bliss is sahaja, and we experience them all the time. It's just whether or not we're conscious enough to see them, to recognize them. Another way that samadhi and sahaja are referenced is to become awake. So spontaneous awakening and sustained awakening. And what it means to be awake is to be fully conscious, to be fully aware of what truly is, to be led from the unreal, the garbage thoughts of I'm not enough, I need to do more, blah, 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 to as I am enough. So this week I challenge you to be open and present to your spontaneous enlightenment moments. And they may be few and far between. You might find that they are plenty. You might find that you land in a state of samadhi, we'll never know. They say if somebody tells you they've been in samadhi, they're full of shit. So, so there's that. So yeah, I challenge you this week to become more conscious of your resting state, and can you find those moments where you feel as you are, blissful, and maybe having those aha moments of what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. Maybe it's just to reside in your true nature as you are. So good luck with that. Seems simple enough, right? And namaste.